All right, welcome back. So right now I'm about to play my interview with President Pastides that we did last week. It's a great interview. We talked about a lot of stuff, covering a whole range of topics from Gamecock athletics to the 30-year plan on campus. So make sure you listen to the whole thing. It's a really great interview, and I hope you guys really enjoy it because we had a great time doing this. All right, hope you enjoy. So, thank you for coming back on the show. It's been about a few months since you came on the show last spring, which was a great interview.
Great to be with you, Brian.
Thank you very much. So I want to know, what's new with you? What have you been doing this semester, this summer? Anything special that's been going on?
Lots of special things. I love the fall.
Mm-hmm.
It's an exciting time. You welcome freshmen and transfer students to begin with. You've got still great weather left over from the summer, all the enthusiasm, and then you got a football team, and it's been not the kind of season the avid Gamecock fans wanted, but we still got a long way to go. So I'm still very, very hopeful about that.
Well, now let's talk about football because I know you're a big sports fan. I remember that. Now, what do you they've had a lot of ups and a lot of downs, big wins, disappointing losses. What do you attribute their recent slide to?
Well, the games we lost, other than A&M, where we got clobbered, were pretty much ball could have bounced a little bit different way. And when I look at the last 3 years, Brian, I think we were 33-6, one of the best records, if not the best record among all Division I teams. The ball bounced our way. A number of games we could have, and maybe people would say should have lost. You remember Missouri last year? I can remember so many. Connor Shaw, or Alshon, or Marcus, or Bruce, won a game that maybe we shouldn't have. I think the ball's just bouncing the wrong way. And then the other thing I think is maybe a young secondary, a young line defensive team. And I think people who know even more about football than I do say you go through these phases before you come back on top.
I guess it's a cyclical type of thing. I think we also been very spoiled to have such great players. We had a number one overall pick here. You really can't. It's hard to compare a team to what we've had. So I learned this a couple weeks ago. You're on the board of directors for the NCAA.
Yes.
And that's an awesome thing. So first I want to know what exactly does a board of director for the NCAA do?
Well, in addition to running the organization and supervising Dr. Emmert, who is the president of the NCAA, we were involved in looking at what kind of reform is needed. So we recently passed what's called governance reform that will allow, and everybody's heard about this, will allow the 65 universities that are part of the 5 largest athletic conferences, including the SEC, to be able to do more things with the revenue that we generate, like take better care of our student athletes, like by providing more financial resources to them, lifetime health and medical benefits, better professional advising and career counseling, and so I'm excited about that. And I was not only on the Division I Board of Directors, but also on a special committee that helped to draft the legislation. So I think we're in for a new era, and I think a better era of collegiate athletics.
Now, from your perspective, you used to work at Yale, right?
At UMass.
Or UMass,
I studied at Yale.
You studied at Yale. You worked at UMass.
Yes.
Now, so those are smaller athletic programs, and then you come to a school like South Carolina, where the athletic department is a really large part of the school. Now, those two perspectives, how does that make your perspective unique when you're working as a board of director for NCAA and working with the largest programs in the country?
Well, fundamentally we are the same in that the sense of ethics and commitment to student athletics. The large and the smaller schools, we believe in what we call the Olympic ideal, which is sound mind, sound body. I believe in that not only for Division I athletes, but for all students. I think they should get out and recreate, have fun and play intramurals and breathe fresh air and sweat and then go study hard. And I think that's what college is about. So, but you're right. It is when your athletic program brings in nearly $100 million a year.
Yeah.
That's this thin air up there, and you've got to keep a good balance between that and what your core mission is, which is education.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, your personal preferences, what would you like to see done going forward in NCAA? Because, the sport, NCAA is really changing right now. And everyone's really feeling that era of change. With the recent thing that was done, with the idea that Division I athletes are going to be able to get more free meals and snacks, and then the ongoing debate of compensation for Division I athletes. What would you personally like to see done?
Well, I'd like to see the amount of the grant that we give to Division I athletes to be increased, not kind of recklessly to what some people have said, tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars, but several $1,000s more to come up to what we call the full cost of attendance, so that the players can, who by the way can't hold down part-time jobs or pull in money elsewhere, have really what it costs to attend college. I'd like to be able to provide them really good medical benefits, so that when the concussions happen and or the knees and the ankles and the backs, and when somebody was looking forward to a career as a professional athlete and now they can't have that, I'd like to be able to take better care of them.
That would be nice.
And also I'd like to give better professional advice to our students. We can't do that now because we got to keep the so-called agents away.
True.
And everybody knows, our own Jadeveon Clowney found his way to be the #1 draft pick, but there were times when I felt had we been allowed, we could have given him even better professional counseling about what to expect, how to help choose an agent. Now again, things went well for him, but they don't always go well. And I think with the new reform, that's what I'm hoping to see, things like that. What I don't want to see is an infusion of large amounts of cash from TV and magazines and other places, and athletic wear companies that would pick one player like a Jadeveon Clowney and say, I'd like to give you $100,000 to advertise, advertise my athletic wear, making him a lot more different than every other student athlete and every other student on campus.
That's a very interesting idea. I know a lot of people haven't talked about that. That's a very interesting idea, and I think that could cause a large rift in locker rooms.
A rift. It would. You get all this money, and I got to worry about how to go buy the pizza that we're going out to eat together.
Exactly, and then when someone starts outperforming the person that is getting sponsored, that's more problems. Exactly. I think that's a very interesting idea that you bring up. But a lot of I've seen sometimes more the non-athletes, they can get more advice, professional advice and advice for the future than student athletes. So I think that's a very good point.
Good.
So let's change topics, because I know you're a huge fan of music. We talked about that a lot last year. So what's been new? What's your new songs on your playlist? Anything new?
Well, I'm always going to start with the Allman Brothers, and they performed their last tour at the Beacon Theater. My son and I were lucky enough to get tickets and lucky enough to sit on stage with them.
Wow.
Through one of his contacts, not mine. Sometimes being the president of a university, I might bring a perk or two along the way, but in this case, my son, who's a New Yorker and involved in productions and music himself, was able to get us to stage passes.
Wow.
So that was great.
That's great.
And I know they're going to have a few more dates later this month in October.
Okay.
Beyond that, my standby, I keep my favorite music around depending on my mood. If I need to get ready for an evening affair, I put on some jumpy music, loud music to get ready. My wife doesn't like that. She'll say, where's the Norah Jones or the Sade? And I said, well, it's going to come on after Led Zeppelin. So we have that little conflict built in. And I do love new music, but to be honest with you, I don't get to keep up with it in terms of, who's really new and hot today. But when I hear something that I like, I got my app, and I can, click it and find out who that person is. Yeah, as I work on the radio, music station. That's the best thing for us to hear, But I guess you and your wife really can't get too mad at each other because you guys both have great taste, Now, who would, if you could choose any band, any singer, anyone? Yep.
If you could choose anyone to come to campus and do a live concert, who would you have?
Well, I'd probably no constraints at all.
No constraints.
Well, the students will find me old-fashioned maybe by their standards, but U2,
Oh, yeah.
love to have U2. I know they're not at the top of their popularity right now, but I think that would unite many factions of the university. I think there are enough students who would say, hey, that's cool, but also faculty. Alumni.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're like that, and so I'd probably go with them. There are many others I would think of, and that would be a huge.
Who would be your next one?
Well, also from that era, I'd probably go back and say Dave Matthews. And again, I know he's a little passé right now, not at the top of popularity.
But you can't really disagree with his talent.
No, and to think of Dave Matthews with that moving music on the Horseshoe, for example. Ooh. With the lights going on and people swaying and,
in the evening. Ooh, nice.
That'd be great.
That would be nice, But, I think U2 and Dave Matthews, they're, even people that, I'm not a big listener of them. I'm not going to go out and put them on. But, whenever I hear them, I'm not going to change them. Because, they're just one of those general performers that you could just say, they're good. Anyone can really agree with them.
Yeah.
So, there's been a lot of construction on campus. A lot of new projects. You have the new dorms going up. It was announced a couple weeks ago that South Tower is going to be, the bathrooms are going to be renovated. Now, there's a lot of changes, and I was wondering, because I know there's something like a 30-year plan with construction on the campus. So I was wondering, what do you see this school looking like, and the university being like in 10 years from now, and then also when it's all done in 30 years. So that's what I was wondering, what do you have envisioned?
Well, I think we have got to relieve some of the snugness that we have right now. We have, you didn't mention this, but an 850-bed residence hall going up behind the new Moore School of Business, behind the Coliseum, in 2 phases. About 500 of those beds will be open next August, about 350 the year after that. I'd like to see more students living closer to town. Don't take this the wrong way, because I know a lot of your listeners probably live out Bluff Road at all of those complexes, and I've got nothing against any one complex, but I think I'd rather see those students be able to live off campus, but live in high-quality housing a lot closer.
And they would agree with you.
Yeah,
they really would.
And if you ask me why, it's because I want them around more.
Yeah.
I want them not to think of it as a pain if there's something on a Saturday, if they want to go to the library or a concert, or they want to hear a special thing, but they just don't feel like hassling with parking and the whole thing, and how am I going to get there, the commute. So I'd like to have that. I'd like to rehabilitate the law school once the current law school occupants move into our beautiful new building 2 years from now. I'd like to make that a premier classroom building, academic building, if you will. Of course, the Moore School of Business sits vacant right now, and we're contemplating what the uses of that will be.
Which is a big building. You can do a lot with that.
You can.
Yeah.
You can. And I've noticed, Brian, in fact, with the new Moore School opening up, that almost the core of campus has shifted to the west.
The West Campus.
So if you're around Assembly Street, that used to be the border of the university, and now it seems like the heart of campus.
Yeah.
I'm concerned that if we don't make good use out of the close and hip buildings, the old, if you will, Moore School of Business, there's not going to be much activity over there by Capstone.
Interesting.
And so we've got to keep that place lively. That's between now and the next few years. If you look at the 30-year future, I think we probably need to be thinking of an additional campus almost, maybe down by the river where the university owns some land near Gamecock Park.
Okay.
Thinking about what we could have there, an additional student union, additional student housing, recreational facilities, and maybe even some educational programs. But that's definitely not right around the corner.
Yeah, that's a very interesting thought, because I was actually just having this conversation with some friends of mine about a week ago. And we were talking about, the shift towards West Campus. I'm working as an RM at South Quad. So, that's South Campus, but, I'm also a broadcast student at the journalism school, so I'm in that area a lot, with the new buildings going up behind the Darla Moore Business School. We're talking about, there's a real shift, like you said. And, but it would be interesting to have another campus, because that really would open it up, the campus and really grow the campus. And I know last time we spoke, we were talking about freshman class, the large freshman classes that we've been having, and you said you wanted to cap it at where we had my year last year, and it actually was a little less than this year. So I think that'd be interesting because right now I think we're at a good level, and I know from all my friends moving off campus, or most of my friends moving off campus, a lot of people do want to come back and want to be closer, So I think a lot of people are going to be happy that you're thinking that,
Yeah, I'd like to grow again. Yeah. We just can't right now.
Yeah.
But 30 years from now, I'd like us to be an even larger university because it's about impact.
Yeah.
It's about impact. We are the largest in the state, but I want to keep doing as much as we can. I'd like to educate everybody. If they want us to provide their education, I'd like to say yes to everybody. A lot of college presidents take credit, if you will, for denying a lot of students because it makes your university seem more elite, more prestige. Hey, you got in, but 9 other people didn't get in. I don't really feel that way. I feel like if you love our university and we can accommodate you with high quality, I'd like to have you.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think it could be, because we're both from New York, such a big place. When you're around a lot of people, you don't want to really limit stuff. So we see like the effects of exclusivity.
Yeah. Would you see a city ever saying, "No, we'd rather stay medium"?
Yeah.
Would you see a business saying, "No, we're happy with our profit now. We really don't want to grow. Our business plan is to." Make what we make now and not grow anymore. Why should a university say, no, I think so I think, but having said that, you don't want to grow and give anything up. You don't want to give up who we are today.
You still want to keep the prestige.
Yeah, so the way to do that, I think, is to invest in infrastructure, be able to provide good quality education to a larger number of students and then grow again.
I also think one of the problems with that for immediate growth is because the city's old and there's been so much built around the campus that it kind of confines the campus. So I know that's going to be a challenge, but I think it's definitely something that people would really like to see. So I think, myself included, I think everyone would be very excited for that.
Good.
Now, if I remember correctly, I saw you at the football game a couple weeks ago, and you told me that you have you're going to Asia. Was it next week?
Just came back.
Oh, you just came back? Okay, so you just came back. Okay, so I have the weeks wrong. So tell me about that, because I know that must have been really exciting.
Well, it was, and busy.
And busy,
went to Taiwan, which is a great partner for our university and for the state. We're sister states, so you could be a Taiwanese student and come here with in-state tuition.
Really?
Yes, because that was an agreement that was made many, many years ago.
Wow.
And so we went there, and we also know students here are interested in learning Mandarin. And we think Taiwan is even in some ways more convenient place for some students to go than mainland China.
Yeah.
And so, but in terms of what the week was like, it was every day, 3 or 4 different universities, ceremonies. I probably signed about 15 MOUs or agreements with fellow college presidents about what we might do together. So
That's exciting.
So the time came and went very quickly.
Yeah. Any sightseeing? Any got to experience
not
the
a
culture?
lot, but every hotel had a spa. It's traditional in Asian culture for men in particular. These are segregated spas where men will go in and do immersion in hot water, cold water, steam type thing.
Interesting.
Shave down there and kind of gets you ready for the day. So I like that.
So nice
not a lot
refreshing.
of sightseeing time.
Okay. Well, maybe you should bring that spa idea here for faculty and students. Just an idea.
Co-ed or single gender?
That's your choice. You're making the decision.
I just wanted to know how you felt about it.
I think But so that's very interesting. I think that's a very our campus I've seen is that exchange programs are very, very popular here. Last year my co-host he was exchange student.
Right.
So that's very exciting. I'm glad to hear that. Well, thank you very much for your time. We love having you on the show. And I really want to thank you for coming back on the show.
Happy to be with you, Brian. Good luck with all you do, and have me back every few months because things happen so quickly. Be happy to update you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. All right, thank you.